Hello, my friends. How are you today? Let's take one more together. My name is Aaron. I'm an astrologer here bringing you a daily horoscope. Thankfully back home in my studio, back to show you this beautiful chart. Look at all this Aquarian energy. This is the most Aquarian energy that we have seen unless you were alive in the 60s, right? However old you were back then. In 1962, we had a crazy amount of Aquarian energy. This is a lot of Aquarian energy, okay? And we're getting ready for this new moon happening on Thursday, all right? But today, the moon has an important journey in conjunction with Saturn, with Venus, with Jupiter, and at the very end of the day, technically into Thursday, according to Eastern Standard Time, but we're going to still talk about it because it's happening really, really early in the morning on Thursday as a conjunction to Mercury, which is retrograde. Okay, Mercury retrograde, and especially in the sign of Aquarius, which deals with technology, right? Things are going awry. Computers might not be working, cars might not be working, emails might not have gone through, text messages might not have been sent. This is a great time to just slow things down. This is why we did this breath at the beginning. It's because it's so necessary. We have this anxious kind of energy right now of what's next and moving forward, right? And part of being that visionary is not seeing things for how they are, but how things could be. And not just sitting idle in one space, but it's constantly maneuvering something in order to create change in our lives or in our environment, okay? And part of this energy, you know, I just got back from literally a 3-hour drive from the other side of the state of Michigan and came literally right down here to record this video. I was so excited to be home and to share this with you. I'm telling you, it's the first thing. My bags are still in my car. I haven't even unpacked yet, okay? Very excited to do this. And part of this energy, and as I've noticed, you know, as I'm kind of meditating while driving, you know, and I'm moving through lanes, and you know, it's like there's a car behind me that wants to get around me so badly, right? And we've all experienced this. Somebody else's rush. And now we feel that we have to act accordingly to somebody else's rush or to somebody else's unrealistic expectations, okay? Aquarian energy is, again, that director. Not the star of the show, it's the director. It's looking at everything and seeing where it's standing back, you know, it's back here. It's not up here, right? It's sitting backward. It's you know, it's not the one that's in the forefront having the conversation. It's the wallflowers, okay? It's sitting back. It's hanging tight and not in the middle of the dance floor, not in the middle of the party or the social whatever, right? It's hanging back and observing is the Aquarian kind of energy. And then when it steps in, it's got something to say that's usually pretty profound. You know, it's sometimes this energy is like, it's like everybody's going to bicker. Not necessarily bicker, but let's say that, you know, this is a meeting of the minds. Okay, we have the moon, our emotional energy, meeting up with Big Papa Saturn over there, constriction, okay, solidifying and saying we need to structure and order. And if we're going to create this thing, if we're going to create this, we must have emotional balance. We must have emotional stability. And to maintain something, right? This Aquarian energy is fixed energy. So it's just like my sight's set on the end of the race. My sight's set on crossing the finish line. So this is a marathon and not a sprint, okay? We can't afford to burn all of our energy in the first, you know, 30 paces, right? This is a different kind of energy. That Aries energy, you know, is running the race. Let's go, let's get there, let's go fast. You know, we got to maintain this energy. And as well, you know, with all of the Aquarian energy, the ruling planet of Aquarius, Uranus, is down here in steadfast Taurus with Mars as well. We're not going anywhere fast. right? So it's like if we have that individual or that that feeling, that thing, or somebody else trying to push us to go faster than we can go. You know, it's like we can only put so much in at a time. You can turn the faucet on and just sit there and want the glass to fill up faster, but it's not. It's going to take however long it needs to fill up. You know, there's no sense of rushing a good thing, okay? And that's Saturn's job, is saying slow down, breathe. This is going to be one of the best things that I can say, you know, over the next couple of days. And while we're dealing with all this energy, is come back to our breath. Okay, you know, we can't afford to be in a rush right now. We can't afford to skip a step. Even if we see the top of the staircase, even if we see that finish line in our minds, you know, there's no shortcuts. Okay, and that's part of the emotional moon meeting up with Saturn. And then after this emotional moon meets up with Saturn, is saying, my friends, slow it down. Slow it down. We don't need to rush. And just even if somebody else, even if the authority is saying, hey, I need you to squeeze 12 hours of work into an 8-hour day, you are emotionally not responsible to take on that weight. You are not emotionally responsible to take on the burden of somebody else telling you to do more in a smaller amount of time, right? These are unrealistic expectations that cannot be followed through, coming from a place, again, of authority. And it's just like, well, we got to slow it down. We have to breathe. We have to look at the big picture. We're going to burn ourselves out early on in this race if this is how we're going about it. Maybe we need to hire another person, right? I don't know. That's I'm getting a little ahead of myself, perhaps. All right. Now we're going to have the moon moving forward and connecting here with Venus. All right. This is a big day, my friends. I can't say enough about this. This is a great day to again, slowing it down. And after we're connecting here with Saturn in the morning time, and it's so important to slow it down, to breathe, to not get ahead of ourselves. And then it's like coming into a connection with our emotions. What are we valuing? What are we doing? Why do we do what we're doing? Why do we do this? We do this because we love ourselves. Why do we get out of bed in the morning and you know, comb our hair or shower, brush our teeth, and do all of these things? You know, it's like something we talked about the other day of you know, when the moon was in Capricorn, about, you know, it's fine to get out of bed and be, you know, crazy hair and everything. But then when it's time to go out and go to work, we have to present ourselves differently. We have to present ourselves in a different way. You know, how we represent ourselves to the world is our public image, our reflection back into the world, right? And do we want to be taken seriously? Do we want to be taken? How are we presenting ourselves, right? So now this is emotional moon meeting up with Venus and saying value where we're going, valuing seeing the bigger picture, valuing where we've come from. You know, valuing slowing things down, valuing the pace, okay? And this is saying as well, like, things are different. The world might never be the same. Now, I'm sure this is the same, similar energy. I wasn't alive during the Great Depression. I wasn't alive during, you know, the Spanish flu. When similar energy, you know, Uranus was in Taurus during the Great Depression. The Spanish flu, you know, we're wearing these masks. We're in a different kind of society. And I'm sure during both of these times, people are saying we cannot rely on banks. We cannot, you know, hug each other. We cannot communicate with each other without wearing a mask or face cover. And it's like we can find photos that like verify all this. You know, history finds a way of repeating itself. And this is our time to deal with this. So this is like, things will go back to normal, whatever normal will be, but it's a new kind of normal. You know, we'll go back to not wearing masks. We'll go back to hugging people. We'll go back to it. But we have to understand our world is sideways. You know, Uranus is the planet that spins sideways. It's vertical. You know, it's not this way. You know, its rings are up and down. And it's just like, this is how we're communicating right now. This is how we're engaging right now. It's different. And we almost have to, we don't have to love it, but it's about accepting it and saying, how can we love, how can we, value this new way of living? Because the more that we, it's like what we resist is what persists. What we resist is what persists. And the more that we fight against something, and we're talking about this very intense energy of Aquarius, okay? The Aquarius energy is the wrecking ball, all right? We have physical matter here, Capricorn, okay? Physical life, 3D life, okay? The third dimension. It's because of how atoms and electrons work that keeps me sitting in this chair opposed to my atoms falling through this chair, right? These are laws of our physical reality, okay? The Uranian energy, the Aquarian energy, is that breakthrough. It's where matter no longer exists. This is about technology. Okay, this is breakthrough in the sense of it doesn't fit into the laws of the physical world. These are different. Things are different. So we have to be willing to fall in love with things that are different. Different ways of communicating, different ways of seeing, different ways of appreciating, different ways of loving, different ways of pacing ourselves. There's nothing normal about life right now according to how life was 2 years ago. Even a year ago, last February, things were still not like this, right? It wasn't until the end of February into March when things really started to change in our world. So it's like we have to be willing. The only constant in this world is change. And we have a lot of energy in the constant fixed sign of Aquarius. But the fixed sign of Aquarius is so unique because it deals with abrupt change. It's the volcano erupting underneath the ocean floor and bringing chaos. It's the hurricane coming in. It's the earthquake. And at these times where we think that things are falling apart and destruction or chaos is happening, it's really things are falling into place. Things are falling into where they're supposed to be. But that comes with, again, that sense of disruption. Had it not been for the chaotic volcanic eruptions outside the Ring of Fire, we would not have the Hawaii Islands. We would not have one of the most beautiful places in the world to visit, to experience life and nature, a different lifestyle. You go out there, it's a different lifestyle. It's a different kind of living. It's a different pace, right? Here, like my God, going from the west side of Michigan, I was over in Muskegon, by Lake Michigan, which was freezing and it snowed for 6 days. And there was so much I wanted to show you guys outside. But it was so cold. I was literally shaking, and I'm like, I've got to find a way to do these inside, and it sounded like I'm in an echo chamber. But it was so beautiful, but it was slow. And then coming back here to the dirty, rusty side of Detroit, which there's something about grimy Detroit that I absolutely love. There's an energy to the city that's really fantastic. But there's also that sense of rush. There's somebody behind me. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And it's like, just because you're in a rush, once again, doesn't mean I have to be. Right? That's your energy. This is my energy. And I don't have to reflect your energy. I'm allowed to break the mold. I'm allowed to break the concept of how we're being viewed or how we're viewing love or how we're viewing society, how we're viewing anything, All right, moving forward, we're going to have the moon now. And look at this. Venus is catching up to Jupiter, which is awesome. Venus-Jupiter days, it happens once every year and a half. All right, we're going to talk about that more tomorrow and as the week continues. But it's one of the coolest connections in the zodiac. All right, because it deals with a lot of love, abundance and joy and love. And to have all three here within this conjunction, okay, and even Saturn being back a little bit, it's fine. Okay, so we have Saturn, Venus, Jupiter, the moon, and Mercury all in conjunction territory. Well, Mercury and Saturn are a little bit far apart to be considered a conjunction, but nonetheless. All right, so the moon here now is saying, bring abundance to this. The world might not be the same, so why not celebrate our weird? This might not be the same. Why not celebrate it? Let's enjoy what we have while we have it. We don't have to wait for something to change in order to appreciate what we have. Let's use more. Let's be even weirder. Let's celebrate. I can't say enough about this. Let's celebrate our inner weird. Okay? Falling in love with it. Falling in love with the different aspects that we are. Falling in love with the strange parts of who we are. We don't have to fit in. That's one of the beautiful things about all this Aquarian energy. We do not have to fit in. Nobody's telling you that you have to be in this mold, okay? And it's the rebellious individuals, it's the people that are thinking outside the box, outside the rectangle. It's the individuals who are not trying to fit in, okay, that are the ones making the biggest impacts right now and are leading the way. And lastly, we have the moon coming into conjunction with Mercury, which is retrograde. Right? And Mercury retrograde again is saying slow it down. Like we've been saying this whole video, slow it down. There's no reason to rush something. There's no reason to communicate something that's not necessary. And coming back to that, you know, besides Eris here, which, you know, this dwarf planet, and Chiron, which is an asteroid, it's not, you know, these aren't our normal planets. The South Node here, it's not a planet. It's a point in the sky. It is a very real point. It is a very real spot that exists that has its own, you know, weight to it, if you will. These aren't planets. We have no fire going on right now. Now, remember the energy, if you will, for a moment. Where was the energy when Mars was in Aries for 6 months, from July all the way to January? From July 2020 to January 2021, 6 months of Mars in Aries. How different is this energy that we're feeling now with that forceful, moving forward energy? Even when it was retrograde, Mars in Aries, it was home. You know, there was aggression or passion, or, you know, and now there can be this stagnance. Besides the anxiety that's going on, because again, you know, Aquarius rules the nervous system, there can be this anxiety going on, this twitching of, I feel like I've got to do something, I feel like I have to move. And that's why this is so important to just come back to our breath, come back to ourselves. You know, but so we don't have any fire energy going on right now that's forging this energy of aggression or assertiveness. So this is this beautiful time right now. If communication is the name of something that needs to be said, or if there's something that needs to be said, kind of phrase that weird, this is a great time to think about it from our higher mind. To communicate whatever is necessary. If it's writing a letter, writing an email, if it's calling somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time. You know, the Mercury retrogrades are always really good for that, when it's like a friendship might have fallen out, or, you know, a family member or past lover, something like that. You know, when communication goes awry, these Mercury retrogrades, it's time to revisit communication. You know, and as our emotional moon is moving from this place of coming from Saturn and knowing our own authority of our own emotions, right? Understanding the weight of our own emotions. Right, coming from this Venus conjunction of the moon, valuing our emotions, right? Valuing ourselves, valuing our opinion, valuing our vision for this life, valuing who we are and where we're going, being joyous and abundant of who we are, and saying, yeah, it's okay. I don't have to fit into this box. I can be goofy. I can be weird. I can be not normal, you know, the moon and Jupiter. It's okay for me to want to celebrate or to be excited about life or to feel any way that I want to feel, you know? So it's like experiencing this quite array of emotions throughout this day. And I feel like this energy is not going to be just today, but carry into Thursday where this new moon is, you know? So lastly, this conjunction to Mercury late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, wherever you're at in the world, it's just like, okay, we've gone through these phases of understanding our power, understanding and valuing ourselves, the abundance of our own uniqueness, right? Our own vision that we're bringing forward. And if it's time to communicate with somebody that we weren't able to communicate with from the past, this is the time. this is the time to communicate, and as the day moves on yet again, coming back yet again, whatever, look, we've got the moon and the Mercury, creating a trine over here to the North Node. Follow our own direction. Who cares what your friend says? Who cares what somebody else says about a situation or an idea that you have or a direction you want to go in? Sharing our visionary ideas with small-minded people or people that do not share these same big visions that we do, we're going to feel stupid. They're going to make us feel stupid, or that we shouldn't share those big ideas, or we shouldn't have those big ideas, okay? That's not where we're at. We're going our own path. We're doing our own thing. So it's like your boyfriend, your friend, whatever, your girlfriend telling you, don't reach out, do that. Don't, it's just like, look, I appreciate you, I respect you, and I value you, but I've got to go my own way. And I know in my heart, in my gut, that this communication is the right thing to do. And it's coming from a high-minded place that I've experienced all the emotions I need to experience to be able to write or communicate this in the most precise manner possible, right? From the visionary, from the director, from not from the ego, not from the place of ego, the Leo energy. This is that higher-minded self, right? So whatever, we're experiencing a lot of stuff, okay? and whatever's going on today, it's just keeping our pace, slowing it down, breathing, whatever we're feeling, know that it's all going to work out all right. If we're going too busy in our minds, breathe. It's all going to be all right. My friends, it's so good to be home. So good to be sharing this with you. I'm excited for this new moon energy coming up. I'm excited for this jam-packed day. However this energy finds you, whoever you are, wherever you're at, I love you. I wish you enough. And we'll see you tomorrow.